Thank you for the opportunity to share this feasibility study with you today. Our intent is to explain an unresolved problem and how we feel WardAldama Consulting is the correct and viable solution in an industry that is just waiting for this niche market consulting firm. Anyone who has done any auditing, no matter what the industry, will tell you that it almost doesn't matter where you are. You can predict the problems that you will run into, the mood and tension of those being audited, and they can usually predict within the first hour in a location how prepared the company as well as how challenging the audit will be. It doesn't need to be that way. By federal law, within the regulations of the Clinical Laboratory Improvement Act of 1988, clinical laboratories throughout the United States are required to be inspected every 2 years. There are various agencies that have deemed status to inspect, and the College of American Pathologists, or CAP, is one of them. Having been a CAP inspector for over 15 years and inspected over 75 laboratories personally, there are many problems that I have encountered. One area is inspection readiness. The greatest problem that has been identified is this inspection readiness. We have seen that clinical laboratories tend to be unprepared for this required inspection or audit and prepare nervously as an inspection approaches. In essence, they are cramming for an exam. There is a solution. Laboratory preparedness and inspection readiness go hand in hand with process improvement and implementation of best practices. But where does a laboratory that is cramming for inspections, expending overtime effort to be ready, find the time to research best practices and process improvements? Marianne Ward and WSU are licensed medical technologists with advanced degrees in business. We are industry experts, CAP inspectors, and experienced laboratory managers, so we understand and empathize with their issues. We have been in their shoes. With over 60 years of combined experience, 120 inspections between us, as we visit an average of 10 laboratories a year, we have a reputation of being strategic problem solvers because we have access to industry best practices and can easily identify those regulatory areas that will be causing the greatest concerns for the laboratory. So how do I know that this is a need, that there is a market out there? I was in an elevator the other day with a laboratory medical director, and here is an example of our conversation. When I finished my elevator pitch, he was so excited to find a laboratorian who truthfully understood his situation that he readily gave me his business card and asked us to contact him. You may ask if the industry can support yet another healthcare consulting firm because it is a mature market. Well, we did our research, and the niche market consultant is the wave of the future and in high demand. As a subcontractor to larger consulting firms such as Accenture, McKinsey and Company, and Marsh McLellan, or direct competitors such as Frick Stigl, who have already contacted us to discuss a joint project. As you can see by the slide, there are over 355,000 businesses that are consulting. But what's interesting is that even though this competition is high, there's only a 7.1% penetration of the market, and it's by the three firms I had mentioned before. 82.3% of the consulting firms have 0 to 4 employees. This really indeed is a niche market of the future, and as you can also see, at $165.5 billion of revenue, there is definitely an opportunity for funding and revenue and sales to be made. How many laboratories are involved? Well, if you just stick to the CAP laboratories, which was our original market, there are over 9,536 CAP laboratories in the United States alone, and that doesn't include those that are in Canada. So indeed, there is a need and there is a customer base. We created the value proposition, which is posted on YouTube. You can see our location here on the slide. As we say, it took us 5 different versions based on all kinds of analysis, but it was so important for us, we decided that we would use it as part of our website. So what is our value proposition? Here it is. WardAldama Consulting will provide subject matter expertise to clinical laboratories in the area of process improvement and inspection readiness. This results-proven 3-step process will include benchmarking the customer's current state, documenting the number of deficiencies we've identified, implementing identified process improvement opportunities within the laboratory, specifically in that area, and re-inspecting the laboratory in order to document a reduction of deficiencies. We expect at least a 20% reduction from the benchmark rate. WardAldama Consulting Industry Connections will enable us to deliver the best practices and improve our customers' processes by another 20%. We also expect to reduce the overtime spent in getting ready for inspections by another 20%. hence a 20-20-20 value proposition. This marked improvement in progressive positioning of the laboratory will provide management and staff peace of mind, as well as the confidence that they will continue to strive for excellence and are inspection ready at all times. So how did we identify what our value proposition should be? We did building blocks. We started at the bottom and we built forward from there. We identified those key areas where we felt we needed to confirm the value to the customer. Besides the base value proposition, we asked ourselves the following questions. Who are our customers? What are their segments? We thought it was only the laboratory, but found out that there's an additional base of nursing staff performing point of care as well as other hospital departments. We also noticed and were told that our focus on hospital and doctor offices should be small facilities, those that were not involved in an integrated facility, because those groups already had in-house expertise. How would we reach them? By direct contact, peer recommendations, and conferences. Definitely a website and a newsletter. Customer relationships are critical. This is a face-to-face industry. And our key resources were based on the expertise of the two partners, although we need a dynamic website and newsletter. And there are activities that we need to perform, such as solving individual customer problems with our knowledge management and training those customers so that they are inspection ready. And process is the key. Fortunately, we are known in the industry. Strategic alliances already exist. Cost and revenue we will discuss later in this presentation. So how did we confirm that we are on the right track to a successful partnership venture? We contacted and interviewed 6 experts in the industry. All the Guru members had significant experience in laboratory management. Each is responsible for regulatory compliance in their own facility and has hiring authority of consulting firms. The laboratory managers and directors are certified med techs with multiple years of experience on the bench and in the laboratory as managers, making them experts in their field. All are certified College of American Pathologists laboratory inspectors, as well as team leaders in the case of the physicians that we interviewed. We also contacted 15 of our peers, some of which could have been gurus because they are also CAP inspectors and our laboratory supervisors, but they do not have control of the budget for hiring consultants, so we treated them separately. While we told you about the final answers in our building blocks based on the surveys and the face-to-face interviews with our 6 gurus, we started with 5 but picked up 1 along the way. There were a few pivots we had to make along the way. 3 key pivots were: first, secondary services. We were only going to do regulatory compliance when we started, but it was very clear to us from the respondents that we needed more than just regulatory compliance. They wanted process improvement opportunities, and they also needed a reduction in overtime as they got ready for inspections. The customer base was much broader than we had expected, more than just a clinical or commercial laboratory, although they did qualify that it had to be smaller. They told us we needed to branch out more than that, and definitely no fees for the website or the questionnaire for the whiteboards that we were going to start with. So what are our key success factors? Regulatory and process improvement. Relationships, relationships, relationships. Reduce the overtime for them. Give them a free website, and make sure that we have a strong customer base. As with any venture, there has to be financing. There has to be some discussion about costs and revenues. We will be starting with the 2 partners and a web developer and grow the industry. The principals will each invest $2,000 each and take out a modest loan of $11,000 that we expect to pay back in the first year. In these economic times and based on industry research and experience, a conservative rate of $200 an hour for time and expenses results in a break-even point at month 5. This includes accounting for expenses, many of which will be in the first few months. The financial analysis is included in the analysis paper for your review. So what are our next steps? How do we succeed? WardAldama needs to build relationships, build relationships, and build relationships. We need to hire a webmaster for our website. We need to create a newsletter and show our regulatory expertise on that. And we need to start small and build from there. And how do we help the customer succeed? We help them succeed by reducing their overtime and reducing their deficiencies. We help them succeed by increasing and improving their process improvement, and also giving them the peace of mind that they are inspection ready at all times. Thank you very much.